audio. Sounds good. Let's get to it. All right, let's check this out. Let's go to here and look at our game plan. Do the analyses on the month, week, day, just ERL structure, do SGC analyses for month, week, day session using 4 hour, 1 hour, 15-minute, 5-minute respectively, which means look at what phase we're possibly in based on time, and then look at time-based draw liquidity, price-based draw liquidity, and projections for any ongoing distributions. And then we'll also have this Q2, which is 7:30 to 9 o'clock, and look at the M3 relative to that. And based on all of that, we'll have scenarios that could happen and look for validation and invalidation points of those scenarios. And when the market opens, we'll look to see if any of those scenarios are playing out. If they are, does the M5 align with it? And what that means is that the last PDA, price delivery array, was created in the direction of the trade, or that we hit the projection from one of the previous manipulations such that it might be over. In that case, we'd definitely need some M1 reversal PA. So once we have this condition, we'd be looking for either impulse structure to align with the trade or reversal PA to align with the trade. The reversal PA needs to align with the trade if essentially, yeah. Anyway, so your high time frame direction or whatever needs to have the right yeah, you're always trading the high time frame. So if the high time frame is say it's going one direction and the impulse is against it, we wait for a reversal PA. Otherwise, if the impulse is with it, you can trade directly with that impulse. All right, so then once we have that either impulse or reversal PA, we're going to look for M1 IRL to be taken within there, and then we'll drop to the S10 and look for an entry. So on the S10, you have simple sweep entries, which means effectively that you come in and you sweep this into this IRL, or you sweep a S10 short-term high or low, and then get an immediate reversal, which has engulfing candles, and then you can take the trade off of the unmitigated order block or manipulation block. Conversely, we can have what's deemed AMS structure, where you create a short-term high or low that gets swept, and then you create another short-term high or low, which is above or below the previous short-term low or short-term high. And if that happens in one of these areas of interest, we could take the trade there. Even better if there's a fair value gap on S10 and it occurs within that fair value gap, that's higher probability. Finally, there's sort of an M1 entry. So barring effectively, if we get all of this, rather than looking at this stuff, we'd want the impulse structure or really the M1 range structure aligned with our higher time frame trade, and then we'd look for an OTE entry effectively with the stop at the 90%. And that's what the JD entry is. And there's some other conditions that would have to be met with that based on moving averages. With all of that, then take off third at 1R, 6 at 2R, 3R, and then the final third at 5R. And that's pretty much it. I'll be trading evals today again. I'm trying to sort of trade those until I get my proof of concept sort of rebuild the confidence because the risk is lower in terms of real dollars. And that's it. So that's the trade plan there. let's go look at some previous trades and what was good or bad about them. So here, let's see. Here's a trade. Um, Notice that we failed to make the structure up on this push. We did get sort of a break of that high though, which is good. Um, so you did get that, and then you got the sweep on the M1, and then a sweep of the sweep. And that sweep of the sweep came out into this M5 projection from before and held that level, and then got sort of the immediate reversal over that. See that high right there? They got taken out, and you engulfed that candle in two candles. So as that was happening, you developed advanced market structure on the S10, and then um, really this was the M1 candle that closed. So like here's your advanced market structure, and then the M1 closes up. So any entry in here is acceptable. 2 hours here, so you had plenty to go. And if you look at the high time frame, we failed to displace on the M15. We had this at M15 fair value gap as a possible draw on liquidity. We also had the 930 and 730 open up here, which could have drawn back into. And it looks like I played it all the way up to there. There's a second deviation on the M1. The M1 sweep right here. So if you took this candle and you do the manipulation, it's right up to there. And probably took profit there, profit here, and then had the trailer right here. So that was a good trade. Let's see. This trade was probably a little bit premature. All right. So this is one where I'm starting to get like, I don't know why I have my OB there. My OB should be right here. So that was probably the problem. That was breaker block maybe, right? So you had the breaker block here, but the order block was here. I think this is one that could just be a statistical thing, except for the fact that notice that the initial manipulation from here had met its fourth deviation, right? And then this one had met its second deviation already. So trading this, I guess, oh, sorry, here's your second deviation on this. Notice that it didn't close above this candle here. And then, so my entry was here. Could have taken 1R off here. So sort of should be a relatively break-even trade, I think. 1R, 30%. So would have lost 30%, right, of risk. Not too bad. There's a lot working for this, except for maybe the fact that your M1, really, this was your M1 sweep candle, and you didn't get the fully engulfing on that, right? So notice the difference between that and this, where the entry was after the M1 had engulfed the sweep candle, and you had your S10 structure. Whereas here, this sweep, you did actually close above that, but your real initiation was arguably from up here. So not a terrible trade in retrospect. Maybe one just here's a good thing to note, right? So your M5 had held the fair value gap here, and then it came back down, and it came back up and held again. So by the time I was trading, right, entering, chances are it's going to come for this right here, this at ERL, and I suspect that's what this trade was, right? So yes, here it is, right? So this came for this ERL, came back into the projection, and then went off from there. So keeping that high time frame in perspective or in mind, you know, if we're failing to displace through or even close past the consequent encroachment of the fair value gap, chances are it's going to come back for liquidity. Now, it did come back for this volume imbalance, but then it failed again, right? And so wait, patience, wait for this liquidity to get swept, and then go. Just learning effectively the things to look out for. So here's a case where M1 did close above this, but notice it also had closed below here. Again, I had this order block, so I took 2 losses here, right? So I had the sweep of here, but this had really failed to close above that. Same sort of thing, right? Looking at this here, failed to close, failed to displace. I could see, you know, maybe taking this initial trade. You came back down to the discount, but this impulse isn't really valid because you didn't break this high, right? So it's not even. It did close above this high, so you could start to argue that. And you're trading out of this fair value gap. I mean, there's not, it's not the worst trade, but not quite as many confluences. So let's look at this one. This was a decent trade had you been able to get in up here, but notice that manipulation had met its second objective here, so we're trading to the fourth. Now you did close through which gives some indication that it might continue. But before I took my entry, you had already then displaced further on the M1, so um, you didn't get the follow through, which suggests maybe that's going to reverse. All right, without going through too many of these, I think we get the idea. Just patience, wait for the high time frame, right? Notice here, this is a nice reversal trade where high time frame projections have been met, M15, H1. You know, you're trading out of these high time frame and you get this reversal pattern of the M1. It comes back in, it holds that fair value gap. So this is something that I'd like to start thinking about introducing to my trade plan. Is just taking as a fair value gap entry on the M1 when it's clear that we're at a spot where the market could potentially make a retrace. So could have taken a trade right under this fair value gap right here, stop below there, same sort of RR. But if you look at it on the S10, you had this sweep right into that fair value gap there, and then so it's sort of playing this M1 fair value gap idea with a little bit more confirmation on the S10. Immediate rejection, close above these. So it was a little bit of an aggressive trade based on, we didn't actually close above that. Could have waited for that closure, and then notice that it comes back down into this order block right there. Boom, could have taken that. Second deviation here, fourth deviation there. So pretty solid there. It looks like I took profit right away. Also notice on the M5, right? So again, we came into these high time frame projections. This is where we can be really aggressive in terms of getting it once you get this M1 shift, right? So high time frame, M1 shift, look for entries. This is the reversal PA that we look for. One thing that sometimes I try to wait for is like an M1 liquidity sweep, but in this case, right, you had the immediate inversion of that last fair value gap, and then the test and hold of this. You had volume imbalance there, so I missed that yesterday. Let's just go review what I missed yesterday, what I was talking about. Where I was being a little bit too right. So you hit this H1 projection here, and notice that in this case you actually had this blown through, and then you had this fair value gap up here. Now I typically won't trade that upper fair value gap, but this was, or I have in the past I've said I won't trade that. I needed to come back to discount to trade that. I was waiting for effectively this level to sweep there. Arguably, you had a nice breakthrough of this breaker block here, right? And so if you take the wick to wick on that, you close, came back into it, and it was a fair value gap. So I believe that's deemed a unicorn entry, and you had this sweep down here that then was getting into that H1 projection and also the previous day low in this case. So that was potentially your trade, and then we had the high of the day, and also this was a real target up here. So that was a solid ass entry on that reversal, 12 to 1, and notice I'm on the M1. So I'd like to start introducing these sort of M1 entries into my trade plan. I think they're simpler, and that's been the objective all along. Is really because also I could probably get a lot more as I grow my account, my AUM account size under management, or funds under management. If I'm trading $2 million, I could put quite a lot on that and probably get the fills because there's several minutes for that to fill up. Whereas on the S10, sometimes I'll eventually get limited on volume. So this is the sort of trade that I'd like to slowly introduce to my trade plan. Notice I had the MAs on here. This would be counter to a JDS type entry, but reasonable because guess what? You hit projection and you hit the previous day low. So it goes back to maintaining, if you recall, as part of the trade plan, maintaining, and this is something I need to get better at, is using these analyses, right? And really trusting that when I hit the time-based and price-based draw liquidity, that it's likely to see at least a retracement. And in this case, I think there was more than a retracement available because the sort of higher time frame had all of these projections, which we're still getting into for distributions levels on some higher time frame. analysis. So eventually, I'd like to be taking these 1 minute entries just straight away. This one did not meet my requirement for the S10 based on it not coming back down to the discount of this range, and so not taking, unfortunately, I like to see M1 ERL internal external liquidity taken there. If you've been following my trade plan, right here, right? So if not well priced, then I wait for that short-term higher low to be swept. Now, I might make exceptions as I move forward if it's coming off a big projection area, and that's what I need to be mindful of. Because oftentimes, if you're doing that, you don't need the extra liquidity because you just grab this. So when I was creating um, rule, it was more in a case like this where I'm down near my high time draw liquidity, and I might need just a slight extra bit of liquidity to be taken, and that's what effectively happened here. So if you looked at this, right, you were actually in well priced, so you could have just taken it from here. But notice that in this last move, in order to reach that draw liquidity, we swept some internal external liquidity, right? Even if you had your fib like this, right, or your range like that, we out of this impulse, again, you could have taken it straight from here, but this internal external got swept to beat that objective. So notice the difference here where we're close to this, whereas this we're bouncing off of that, and sometimes I've noticed that if you're making that reversal, there's going to be less time for pullbacks, right? And so it's just you've got your high time frame liquidity. You don't necessarily need to come back and grab this low time frame liquidity. So that's something that I am slowly incorporating into my trade. And notice here, this is more of a retracement. So if we look at like how this is happening, right, we have impulse up, retracement down, right, and arguably then we might have come back into the discount here, and we'll get to that. So I think that's enough review. Let's look at the overall analysis and actually do the work. Monthly, we still have this month high as a target, and potentially, if this is going to continue, we have this drawn liquidity up here. There are some things in the way, so I don't expect it just to shoot up. Weekly, similar. We still have this is the month high, effectively the previous month high. It's also the weekly external liquidity, and then we've got this fair value gap here. So I don't anticipate we just charge through this fair value gap. I expect it'll provide some resistance. How much is TBD? Once if we break this, the closure above this level and where we close relative to the fair value gap will tell us whether or not I would anticipate us going to the month yet, or whether or not we need to come back down for more liquidity. But we have come back for a lot of liquidity. This is still sort of the structure to me. It was a sweep of the structure. You can see the nice wick candle here, displacement up. Got inverted right away, but then we've already, negated that inversion. And we're continuing up. So pretty bullish there. On the daily, this was that pullback into the discount of this impulse structure on the daily, and we created a jump start out of there. We've already touched the top of that jump start, so our daily projection based on that, we have two projections. We have this sweep right here, which was sort of the final push down, so I would deem it a manipulation block. You had this low right here as well, so close below that, so that's your manipulation block. So that has us up at 2468. And then we have after that, we got this jump start here, 1, 2 fair value gaps, and that has us up at 668.50. So there's reason for continuation on the daily. If we do this last little manipulation right here into the fair value gap, that would have us just to the weekly high right there. So we could even look at that 7175 as the most immediate daily projection. So that would be the next daily projection right there, which notice it brings us right past the weekly. So we've got this sort of draw to the upside right now, based based on this manipulation, based on this jump start, and based on this manipulation. So, sorry, yeah, I mean this is came back down, grab liquidity right here, right? So that's the daily is also bullish, so everything's bullish. What is this? I have no idea. We'll find out. All right, so everything's bullish on the candle analyses. Now, if we look at our Gann assessment for the month, and let's just get rid of all of this. Um, what's happened this month? We created a range. We grabbed internal liquidity, push, internal liquidity, push, right? Internal liquidity, push, internal liquidity, push, internal liquidity. And why do I call these internal, not external? You could be saying like, well, that one's obvious. Actually, most of these are obvious, but it's all internal to this range, right? So this is your first quarter of the month, and then since then we've been grabbing liquidity within that range to push outside of the range. And now we're outside of the range, and we came back into the range, grabbed more internal liquidity from the impulse structure, and we're trying to push up. We did not break this level up here, and if we break down, then that creates SMT with the S. But I am still bullish. This was a jump start on the H4. We hit the second deviation and broke off of it, right? And then we swept that. So arguably, this is sort of a reverse ghost protocol to the downside. But we'll just have to be mindful of whether or not we close below this level here. And if we can break back above sort of this retrace off of that, then I would have us get into these next projections up here. So these are the current projections. I do believe, yeah. So I've drawn this one, and that pulls us. I believe that's this right here. Yeah. So this projection, which actually is no longer valid because we broke that low, didn't we? Let's see. The low of this is 5525, and the low of this is 53. So yeah. So we broke this. So actually, this projection here is gone. And actually, notice I didn't have any of those there. So, but this one's still valid. This is the main one. I think it's similar to the daily if we bring the daily back up. Right, so the daily we have this projection. Nope, that's based on back here. So yeah, so our most recent projection brings us past the daily into the daily fair value cap. Go figure. So I have this as a possible draw, current draw on liquidity. We've got the daily projection here, but often, so we'll just have to pay attention to that. Weekly external liquidity. So all the DOL draw on liquidity is to the upside. Monthly Gann assessment, I would presume that we've already broken out, and then we came back in and tested this range, right? So this does not look to me like manipulation yet to the downside. I think we still have room to grow, room to get up, and we've got sort of our previous month high right here, and then we still got all-time highs. We've got this H4 from, I think this was from August, the August projection. Similar Gann assessment there where we had a range set and just grabbed internal, got all the way up to the top of the range. And then in that case, notice that once we got to the top, I think the month started right around here. Was it here? Yeah, see, that's still July, August. So the month started there. Notice that it came back in and failed to displace out. So once it had gotten outside of the range, came back into the range, failed. Notice the difference here. We got outside of our range. We came back into the top of the range, grabbed liquidity, and are continuing. So that's why I'm still bullish on the month for the monthly Gann assessment. All right, now what is it? What is this nonsense? I don't know what that is. We're gonna delete that. All right, so on the weekly, let's see how we stack up. So in this case, we had a range. We liquidated the high, and then we came and liquidated the low. That was yesterday. And on that liquidation, we had this manipulation right here on the H1. And that hit that projection. And then guess what? It reversed. And this projection was also hit. And that's what we came off of on the H1. That projection came from a long time before in the month on the 18th of September. You had this nice manipulation block. Or I guess that's not manipulation because it didn't close. But this order block right here, that was manipulation. Boom. And that's really what set this range to begin with. So it makes sense that we hit the end of that. That's distributed. I think that's the fourth. Yeah. No, that's only the second. So arguably, we have further to go on this manipulation right here. all the way up to here. So this range could expand up to the fourth. If we look at recent, like how this all evolved, well, here was this manipulation, so that one has us up there. And notice that this fourth projection matches that fourth projection. So again, I'm still bullish. There are some bearish indications, but we've come back down now and we've closed back above this. So a lot of this to me looks more like a retrace on that structure. We've already hit the EQ of this, so I'd be inclined now to look at this smaller structure here and use that for now. And we've come back to the EQ of this last impulse. We've gotten this and we've got to close above, so I'm already bullish again. The only downside that I see here potentially is that we didn't really grab, we grabbed the liquidity below this candle, this thrust candle, but there isn't like the typical type of liquidity that you would grab, and we inverted this fair value gap here. So it's not quite as strong. I think you could argue that this is your final manipulation on that. You could look at that as a projection, which doesn't get us through. If you take the full move from here, then that gives us up to there. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that for right now, to call that anything. So far it's held, right? So you got the immediate reversal, and then that order block held. Whoops, that order block held, and you pushed up. You don't have any jump start or anything, so and we're coming into effectively this fair value gap to the downside. So it might be that we come back for more liquidity to the downside, and we'll see. You've got sort of this as potential. Well, what we'll do is we'll probably be able to see this on the daily, so I'm not going to do too much there. But Gann assessment, initial quarter, liquidity sweep at the high, liquidity sweep below, continuation to the high. Now, it did see it closed above these levels, so that is the continuation sign. The hesitation there is it hit a projection, which was distribution, so you're getting this retrace on that push. And so the question is whether or not we'll continue out here, or whether we need to come and get more liquidity. Let's see if that lower time frame can give us an indication on that. So let's get to it. So here's your 15-minute, and we'll do our daily assessment. Take this, move it to 18, push that there, push this here, and notice right away that we had our midnight open here, that we've swept the low of the daily. This would be our previous day low, previous day high. Is this the previous day low? It's Monday, yeah. Monday, yeah, it starts there. Yep. All right, Asia low is already taken out. Not going to worry about that. We have Asia high here, and that looks like that's the kill zone high. Double check that. One of these days I'll know for sure without having to bring my thing on. Yep, that's the kill zone high. The low's already been taken out. We have our London. I believe this is the kill zone low. Indeed it is. So we've got those two set. So notice that London took out Asia low, and we're getting the reversal off of London, which suggests, and we're back above the midnight open, which suggests that we're going to attack the highs next. I need to take a quick break. Okay. Right. So on the M15 and daily assessment, effectively we've taken out the lows and we held. This is interesting from yesterday. We had this jump start on the M15, and so we've got this M15 target up here, and it hasn't been met yet. Um, get that in there. Now, if we look at sort of this last manipulation, it might have already been met. So that one met the 2, but it broke through. Did it ever close through 202? What's close here? 204. So it did close through that. The other thing that you can look at is that this was actually a candle that closed below, so that's a manipulation block. So that could be a higher target. I'll stick with the jump start for now. I think that's valid. And notice that we've got this has been tapped and held. So one thing that could happen is we get a further liquidation of this to continue forward, right? Given that that was the first tap, sometimes what happens on these is that you create now liquidity here, it comes back down, sweeps that. So if we sweep that in this fair value gap, then that would be reason to believe that we would continue up. But we'd have to get a reversal off of London low to do that. Let's see, intraday. Let's make sure this is right. 206.50, 307.7. So that would be the first projection on that 15. And we've got the next one up here, which is 3450 and 675. So for the continuation on this, right, if we look at this structure sort of, then these would be some of the levels. We also have these draws on liquidity. London high we've already taken out. We haven't had a reversal off of it. So daily session, quarter, right? Break it. There's a little bit of an internal, external, like a short-term high was swept here to push down, and then that came back to grab this. Why is my daily? Oh, this was from yesterday, and then we're pushing back off of that. We've broken London high. We've actually closed through now. So suggestion might be that on the day we're going to continue at least to the top of the initial range, if not use that to go higher and to use some of these other projections, right? Notice if I bring the H1 back, there's going to be a projection up there. If I bring the H4, that doesn't get us quite to those. It brings us to our daily projection, weekly external, right? So this jump start could be what's happening, and we're coming out of this fair value gap here on that 15 from yesterday, late morning push. Notice that was also near London close. So the next thing I want to check here is there any like manipulation block here that we could be following up? There's not the best. I would argue this could be considered. Notice that's sort of held that level so far. So it could be that we come back down for more. So we just keep that follow. I don't see any, I don't like these because that down candle. So we'll probably see that in the session, right, as opposed to the daily assessment. But I'd say this is also bullish, and we got pull back into this fair value gap and continuation up so far. With the potential to need to come back for a little bit more liquidity before we actually continue. And we're coming off the projection of this sweep. All right, let's go look at the session here. Before we switch, let me just grab it from this. Session starts at 6. We're trading the third quarter of the day. I got the high right. That one, and then our 7:30. Is this the 9 o'clock? That's at 8:30. So that's the 9 o'clock. So we've got from here to here. There's our second quarter. That one up. And 7:30 open is going to be this. So now let's go look at the right time frame for all of this. So here's your 5-minute session, first quarter. You did get a sweep of this right here, and then continuation up, came back in, also grabbed liquidity, came back into this order block, continued up. So right now everything's just continuing up. Let's look at if this was a jump start right here within that first range. That has already met the second projection. It did break, it broke through but did not close through. Gives reason to come back for liquidity typically. See if it has since it hit it. It did. It came back for this liquidity and it reversed off of that. So there's reason to believe that we could go up to here. 6875, 74. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this right here was taken. Now we haven't had a great break out of there, but that would be the suggestion based on that. We also swept the 7:30 open right there and then continued. So I'd say that that's potentially what's going on, is if we can break this, we'd have a target up here. If we look at this bottom manipulation, see if that's met its end yet, and I would predict that it has met the, so London, right, the London session has broken through that projection. So the one that's remaining would be up here. Get that right, 835. So that's your final target from the London session. That's yet to be met. So we've got those targets there. On the M5. It's got the M15s up there. M5 still has room to go. We are currently holding the 7:30 to 9 o'clock range above EQ with one liquidity sweep into EQ, which grabbed this, and here we go, we're coming down. So potential that we get effectively a sweep of this level and then continuation out, potential that we just continue out. All of that because we didn't break and close through this projection, so more sell side liquidity will be required. The initial manipulation from this structure has not met its fourth objective. It has closed through the second objective, which indicates to me that we will go for the fourth objective before coming too far back. So there's the open. Again, I'm trading 2 counts, 625. So looking to see if we touch this, if this holds on the 1 minute. Effectively, I would look at this as your 1 minute range. All right, so we actually came back in for the JDRS entry there. So that would suggest that we could go all the way. There's some nice 1 minute impulse. No real entry on the S10 out of this, but here we go. So this is the fourth projection on the M5. From this jump start right here, potentially. With the hourly on, it's this fair value gap that we're trading through. Have to be mindful of that. Not much on the others. Where's my 4 hour? All right, so what I like to see is that there's a lot of room for these things. This is good on the 5. So I didn't draw it, but we have this on the 15 minute. So 225, which is probably going to line up with the. It's not. So there's that fourth projection from this manipulation, this jump start right here. We break through that. We've got this fourth projection up here that it could retrace off of. But effectively, you had your JDS entry here from the second quarter. But I don't trade it until 10 o'clock. So a lot of this is ES just broke the 4-hour high, so that there was potentially. Let me show you. There was. Oh no, we haven't broken that one yet, have we? Yeah, ES has broken this high, so this is going, which I'm not surprised about. But that gives less reason for us to go down. We have SMT right there on the 4-hour. I need to make that visible because it is a 4-hour now. It could even be daily. All right, so in the hourly, we're the second effectively we closed outside, but now we're back up. So I'm not as concerned about this fair value gap here to the downside. Definitely looking more at these up plays. Notice that we're getting some resistance off of this 5-minute projection. Curious if we've hit that. I don't have anything on the 15-minute. So this is our sort of first target on the 15-minute is 2.5. Or the last target from that, from this manipulation here. Notice it lines up with that fourth target from here. So I would predict a retrace off of this. Let's see, we're breaking through the hourly fair value gap. Notice we've broken through all of these, so they're sort of irrelevant now. There's that push. Love that we're outside of this range here. Fucking hate that range. There's some new home sales at 10 o'clock to be wary of for news. And then let's look if that's on Forex Factory as well. It has it as medium impact. So the 10 o'clock is medium impact on Forex Factory. High impact on my FX book. No jump start on the 1 minute out of here. Probably interesting that there's no jump start on S10. You do have this jump start from the initial move, I mean. So that S10 actually has us going even further if that jump start survives. But we've hit these projections, right? And so it's possible that we need to come back for more liquidity on these higher time frames, unless we break right through, which we just did. So it could be that we reach up to these jump starts here. Currently the order flow is just holding to the upside. Could be setting up for a nice JDRS entry. If we get a retrace, so this is the S10 recall. 930, 730 there. So it never came back for that fair value gap after here. Notice that it hit it right there. That was a JDRS entry at 845. I don't trade that early. So predictions pre-market are playing out. No entry. Not sure where I could have entered if I had wanted to. Sort of just took off. It was a volume imbalance, but I'm not going to enter. I'm above an S10 volume imbalance. Not right now anyway. I blew up too many trades, trading, stuff like that. So that was the pre-market JDRS entry, 5-minute fair value gap. I expect it'll hit target, but we'll see. We will see. So with all of this, what I'm noticing is that our 5-minute projections have been met, and we've broken through the fourth, but I would predict that we'd come back for liquidity. We closed through this one, so this one's just totally spent now. Of no further consequence to us. You could almost play the retrace, but I wouldn't be too interested in that. It's definitely your current impulse here. Nice fair value gap down here. That is an external liquidity sweep on that. S10, notice this jump start hit the second though, and it's coming off of that. So this is where I'm not keen to trade. In the past I might have. And the reason is that I've hit my current projections. So I want to wait for effectively some further. Now if we close up above this on M1, then maybe, but I want to wait for further liquidity to be swept. Now this is M5 IRL. Notice we didn't close above that projection. So attempting to trade this. It's not really ideal because we've hit the second projection on this. Coming off of that, you're not holding these. I need to see a really good manipulation, which so far has not happened, but we'll see. It could. Notice that 15 is holding below this. H1 wouldn't close above yet. 5. Back to, so don't wait for some deeper liquidity, potentially this. So notice that S10, second projection, reject, and go. So I don't want to trade that if it's not breaking through that second projection. That's been a critical one for me. Down to this fair value gap here. Now this is the sort of manipulation that might make sense, right? So we've got this JDRS right here. If that holds, but look at that on the M15, on the M5, potentially inverting this fair value gap. But this is the sort of play, right, that we've exhausted our current short-term manipulation, so we need another manipulation to occur if we're going to continue up to meet the higher time frame objectives. And right now, this is pretty looking like manipulation to the downside. And so what we want to watch now, was this jump start? No, that was equals. Is if it holds these things, right? And get, or if this is, right, if it holds the structure or not. If it doesn't, we could get this jump start to the downside and start looking at the shorts. Because again, projections met, distributions done from the existing manipulation. The distribution has been complete, right? And this was sort of your session manipulation right here. That's complete. So, we're in the third quarter, met, potentially that means reversal. So with the close here, we've got this projection on the M1 to the downside. I would be hesitant because it's trading against sort of the higher time frame structure. So conversely, if we get this inversion here out of this fair value gap, that might be a sign that we could continue this up and that we've just created that we're trading the manipulation leg to the upside. Right? It's a hold of structure with an inversion if that happens. And it's looking like that might happen. So you're rejecting this jump start to the downside. You're effectively creating a new one. So here's the new jump start off the bat. We just hit the second of that, so I'd be wary of taking the trade here on that 10. If this is a market maker sell coming into play, this is where the sellers would come back in. Volume balance here, but notice you rejected this jump start to the downside. So our downside projection is gone. And if this is going to work, we'd effectively have that for the upside on that one. Come back down, grab this sort of stuff down here, hold this fair value gap. Notice the M5 didn't close, so it's holding its fair value gap. The M15 is also closed up. So there's back to a reason to believe that we could continue up. This did not close above, but sort of did. So you could almost be taking a trade already. This is your S10, this is your M1. Your M5 could have, if this is going to turn into a projection on M5, then you would have these targets. On M5, guess what? That brings you into a lot of that. Here's your M1 balanced price range. Could look for trade out of there on that bounce. Notice that we've closed above the second deviation here now. So this fourth is valid for the S10. Also notice those are equals, so not AMS there. Looks like it's going to work. Yep, there we go. I reach this S10 fourth projection, and then we'll see if we get manipulation, like something, a pullback and a manipulation that we could jump in on. The downside to this is, well, the M1 held this, right? It hasn't broken highs. Your high is up here, so that's the. Well, this is sort of low resistance. You got this fair value gap here that it's holding to the downside. This inversion has been broken through. I guess it hasn't closed up there yet. Get on the M5. That would be sort of a hold of that fair value gap to the upside. Nice projection. We'd have a long way to go on that 5. M1 up there. This fair value gap's holding to the downside, which could bring us back in for an entry. We haven't met the fourth projection yet. If we were to look at this as our current range, reversal structure, back down into this BPR would be the play. Held those imbalances, that'd be a pretty aggressive entry there. Gets up to there. I have on the M1, this is effectively where I would have the targets for this. Looks like it might hit that and then come back. So that's the top of the fourth, and it might come up to the second projection here. And maybe get a retrace off of that for an entry. Maybe, maybe not. Notice this M15 projection, we're charging through that. You didn't create like an intermediate high up there, so I'm not too concerned about that. I'd like to see, ideally we get a close above this, close above here, and then we'd really have reason to continue. If we don't, effectively start making a lower high there, but a higher low at the same time. So going with this larger structure, I might expect to pull back into here. Now you've hit the fourth projection there, so again, I'd want to see a manipulation on the S10, which is what I'd want to trade. So notice you're rejecting that M1 projection right now, which suggests that we come back down. For liquidity, this balanced price range might be the place. Arguably, from the way I've learned, this would be your order block up here, so you could trade from there. Another test of this. Could get a sweep of this. Have to be a really significant reversal for me when I trade that. Got 50 seconds for that one close. I'd want to see that one close above that to be interested in this. And have a clean price action indicating a sweep. Which this isn't. This is more what I'd be interested in if it forms sort of that, some sort of sweep down into here. Preferably deeper now. Going here. closed below there. I'm not interested in trading that sweep itself. I'd rather now it touch down into here. M5 closed above that, which is good. This is all hold-in, so you're closing outside of that. So this could be the manipulation up there. I would expect this low to hold effectively for that to remain true. You're not getting displacement down, so I'm not interested in saying this is going to be your, I'm not looking at this as reversal PA to the downside. Notice how this did reverse up. So M1, I'm okay. Saying it's longs. You are coming out of a 5-minute fair value gap, so that's valid. You did just form AMS. And this is your manipulation block on the S10. It's not a bad trade. I'd expect your 2R is going to be there. You could enter on that. Effectively, the ideal entry would be out of there. I just see this as potential draw liquidity. This would be the projection. So if it doesn't hit that, could have taken the trade right there. Nope, never got entry, even if you're just taking 2R. But looks like it's going to take off from there. So I would consider this a no tag. Now, that said, could be looking at that trade right there. Got a nice displacement on that M1 again. Strong, 5 strong. Ooh, you got that nice volume melt on them 5 there too. Yeah, so there's the no tag. Okay, notice this structure is now expanding. And where are we likely expanding to up here? We've also closed through here. Drink some water. Hey, bud. You'll work again. Yeah, I am. How are you? Yeah, things are looking, I mean, in my opinion, very bullish. We've got new projections to the upside after having met initial ones. We've got H1 up. So all the DOL is up still, but I would expect potentially a pullback here to give an entry at some point, maybe. I mean, for me, everything's still bullish. Um, like we slept yesterday's high. Sorry, we slept external liquidity yesterday. Came back down, retraced past 50%, and then we just broke above it again. So that just looks like a retrace and continuation here to me. Um, it's whether it's going to come back, right? So where do you have your anchor? Do you have it at the 145? Oh, okay. No, that was nice though, huh? I don't. Yeah, I don't trade pre-market. So, so just so you know, so right now we hit the projection, the fourth projection on the M1 manipulation jumpstart from the beginning of this move. And so we're getting that reaction. We had a medium impact news just released too at 10 o'clock. Yeah. I sort of like your anchor though. I mean, I think that seems reasonable. That's the structure that broke the structure, is what you're saying. Um, it's not quite an intermediate low yet, but yeah, the next low would be the 144.50. Yeah, I see what you mean. So what you're saying is there's this, you have this up candle from 9:36 New York time, um, and you could use that as your breaker. So middle of that breaker. Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned about is we just hit the fourth projection on that. 5 minute has plenty of room to go. 5 minute has a projection up at 278.75 now, based on that initial pullback. Uh, you're looking at the entry around 202. Yeah, yeah, and it covers that fair value gap from below, which is nice. The stop would, right? further move up. I would pull off this trade if we hit. There's effectively the weekly liquidity at 256, and then there's a daily projection at 271. So if we hit that before entry, that might be enough for me to not want to take it, because that's the high time frame drawing liquidity right now. Now there's a lot of projections that go further, so could argue that you can take it. Could be, yeah. London swept a low, and then we continued up, and then right when market opened, we pushed and then came back and grabbed liquidity and went. So and sell side. Oh, that's true. I missed that. You're right. But we closed above previous day high on the 15-minute, which to me suggests that it could continue up. The only thing I'm concerned about is, again, if we hit, which we haven't yet, so like an entry right now seems valid. So 20, I've got 201. Prices on these. I've got 201.75 for my. Oh, but do you use 618 or 62? Fair enough. Yeah, I've got 202 based on 618. Yeah, which is a nice round number too. So that's good. Yeah, that's what I don't want it to hit before we get an entry. Oh, previous. Oh yeah, sorry, not previous week. I'm talking like there's a sort of previous month high is at 256. So if we hit previous month high before this entry, I don't know, personally, I'd be less hesitant to take a limit entry as it comes down and wait for some reversal PA out of there. If that makes sense. Yeah, I have it on as well. And then if I get tagged in, I would take profit at the just based on my management plan. I'd certainly take profit at the previous month high because there's going to be a lot of liquidity sitting there. Let's see, we might expand out of here. I mean, we held that fair value gap on that one. We created advanced market structure on the S10 out of there, but not really a good manipulation leg out of there. So I can see this coming down. Oh, sorry, that's a 15-second. Yeah, actually, we did get a decent manipulation on the 10-second. See if it fulfills that before coming down. Yeah, I could see us hitting this previous month high before we get entry. There it goes. that would change the entry. Huh? So I hit the second deviation of the 10-second manipulation right there and rejected it. So this could be where it comes back for us. But it's holding this M1 fair value gap, that top one. Now there are projections above the previous month high. So entry would be 205 right now. And 184 stop. But I think we're going to hit this previous month highs in range. There's a scalp there available in S10. Nice, just came and grabbed all this liquidity before hitting the previous month high and tagged us in, huh? Well, previous month high is right here. It's at 256. So we're only four or 5 points away from it. We got to within 3 points of it. What's interesting is you're getting a nice M15 projection to the upside, which should push us way into some of this stuff. Got 5 minutes for that to actually confirm, though. 5 minute does not have any jump start, but the 5 minute projection has us going all the way to 278.75 off of the manipulation 10 minutes after New York Open. That down candle in 5 minutes. So I like our anchor point still. We do have a new intermediate low formed on that fair value gap hold. But there's not really good PDAs in there. Excuse me. I just think we're going to pop into this previous month high. Great if it sweeps down right now. Yeah, if it sweeps all the liquidity that was just built there to the downside and tags us in. Because I like that because you still have that previous month high as liquidity draw. So just grab all this extra liquidity, tap us in, and then hopefully run to it. Now, what's interesting is our stop would be right on the daily open. That's, yeah. What? I know. That's. I don't know if that's good or bad. That's a tick above. I have mine because I have mine at 8.4 for the. What's your is your 89% or something different? 88.6. I like that. I like your style. Okay, we're just so you know we're about to. Well, we didn't do it yet, but God only knows we're about to. Yeah, we've got the intermediate low up at. But I don't. Again, I don't know. I mean, you do you. I'd be hesitant to take off previous month high if we tap that. Now we're within a tick. Now we're within a tick of it. Say what? Yeah, that's previous month high right there. It just tapped it. Yeah, I'm off that trade. You'll do you. If it comes back down and hits it, I'll wait for a reversal in the M1 before getting involved, just to get that extra confirmation. But that was a tap of previous month high right there. Now you're not getting like a huge reaction off of it, interestingly. Looks like you're just gonna charge right through maybe. So the S10 manipulation that started this next leg, the one that starts at 22350. If you take that manipulation there, um, we've hit the second objective has been broken but not closer. The second deviation. So the fact that it's not closer, I'd almost look for manipulation to the downside and see where that takes us. I mean, that's the other thing. I'd be happy to put it back on if there's manipulation up here to the downside and that manipulation doesn't break the range that we've had identified. Yeah. I mean, there's still draws on liquidity above this, right? So that's the plus side. Um, we're really not getting like a massive reaction here. Interestingly, there it continues up. Oops. Yeah, it's just gonna go. Now we're popping into um, almost H1 projections. I think there's even an H4 projection. That's the daily projection there. Oh, sorry, that's an M15 projection from this morning. Oh, very interesting. We did with this push, we've created more projections to the upside on the M15. I'll stop talking in a second. Y'all want me to? I just know that I bring in extra from what you guys look at. So happy to mute. Happy to mute. But anyway, so that hit the M15 projection from yesterday when we had that push off of the previous day low yesterday. That gave us a jump start, and that just hit the second objective of that jump start. So I would expect a pullback here. Everything's bullish. I wouldn't necessarily. Yeah, and again, like we've got this new. Um, no, I'm not interested in that because we got high time frame stuff about to push us down. I think so. I think we'll have a big reaction down. To me, I'd almost look at the daily open as entry. Um, you've got a new fair value gap on the M15. There's just a lot. There's going to be a lot of support that you'd have to charge through to get down to the original entry. And so, yeah, I don't quite see that. Where was? Do you have New York time or London time? I don't. Oh yeah, I see it. Hmm. Yep, yep. Yeah, that's the one I was saying on the 10-second. My entry model showed as well, um, and that's the projection that now we've hit the fourth projection off of that manipulation. So the manipulation at 4 passed. If you look at the 10-second chart and draw that projection, we just tapped it and we're rejecting off of it right now. So I could see us pulling back from here. I hear you. Yeah. Yep. Yep. I hear you. No, I didn't take it either. I was looking at it, but I didn't because we had actually hit the fourth projection of the M1 already. So I was expecting potentially pull back there, but it did pull back. It pulled back into an M1 fair value gap and continued. So success. Let's see, what is this? This must be on the M5. I mean, look at the M5 chart. It's just fucking totally up. And that M5 projection, it could be that it reaches that before pullback. So we've got 878, 75 to hit that. See how it reacts off that. I almost like that we're getting so far away because that shows displacement through some of these levels. And so when it comes back, um, I would say it's more reason to like if we had had a big rejection off the monthly level, then I'd be like, I'm not interested. But the fact that we're breaking through and continuing to these further upside projections, exactly, exactly. So if it does come back, I like the trade actually a little bit more. Just the fact that we didn't get a big reaction off the monthly, right? Like it sort of just petered and continued. And there's a lot of upside targets that have been formed off of these moves. I've got it at 2.5. Oh, do you have your adjustment on? Adjust for contract changes. That's key. Yeah, I am too. But at the very bottom of Trading View, there's B adjust, bottom right of the window. Click that. There you go. That's gonna change it. Yeah. So I always have that because what it does is when you update the contract, there's a difference in the price, and they adjust it all, so it just makes it. Yeah. That's how I do it. Yeah. That's how I do my analyses. So we're rejecting this 15 minute so far. I mean, everything's still bullish, so any rejection at this point to me would just be, again, like if I'm rejecting a 15 minute, I want it to come back and grab 15 minute liquidity, right? If I'm rejecting an hour, I want it to come back and grab hourly liquidity. Yeah. Yeah. And on the 15 minute, that would also be a fair value gap, I believe. Let me check this. So you've got your anchor at 75.50 still. 175.50. How do you have 7.2? Mine's showing 71. Oh, are you an MNQ? Uh, yeah, slightly. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I like about that entry is it's within the M15 fair value gap. So the fact that it's rejecting this projection on the M15, um, coming back for M15 liquidity would have the entry in there as well. And we cover the M1 breaker with the stop. Um, yeah, there's a lot to like about that still. Could almost trade it back to it, honestly. Now we're rejecting that pair. So 212 is my entry, but I'm on NQ, so it's gonna be slightly different. Yours, yeah, and then my stop is 650, 8650. The downside to it would be that your range is so big. You'd be asking for a breakthrough of a lot of other things. There's a weekly fair value gap. Um, that's also sort of a draw on liquidity here. The weekly fair value gap starts at 315.50. 5 minute just hit a volume imbalance and held it on the first test, but it broke through 5 minute inversion fair value gap to the downside. Oh, I'm trying to do something here. Entry is 212 on the number, and it would be 24. The stop is 286.50. Daughter's babbling. So what I like is that this is all like low resistance liquidity that it's taken out here, and our entry is in the better liquidity, where we might predict that this does. Hold. Quite some displacement down to us. So that grabbed a lot of that liquidity right there. What I also like is that we have not hit our H1 projection to the upside. Our next H1 projection that hasn't been hit yet is at 283. So this is coming off an M15 projection without having hit the H1 projection. Yeah, yeah. It's also holding an M5 fair value gap. Uh, you haven't had the full reversal on the M1 yet, like it hasn't closed above that. But if it does, then that creates effectively a new manipulation on the M1 for continuation. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you have this M5 fair value gap just sitting there for the taking. Pretty nice V shape, but yeah, I mean, it took all that low resistance liquidity right there with that push down. You haven't really formed AMS on S15. If you look at this current push up and trading out of that, I don't really like it personally. What I like about what's happening right now is that the retracement to the entry is not impulsive, right? You just had that one big down candle, and you don't, yeah, you don't have the fair value gaps, charging down. Now this is a pretty big down candle here, but I would be interested if it hits like it's about to hit this 15 and 5 minute fair value gap and gets a big move off of that, which it just hit those. Um, then I might no, yeah, I know on the tick, right? It might not fill us. That'd be hilarious. I didn't. I have it. It's on the tick. You guys got in on that MenQ. Mine didn't get filled. See, there's another sweep here. Oh, that would be a shame for me. Mine was 212 based on M and on NQ. They are, but I'm on an NQ, so that's probably the difference. But I have faith this might come down a little bit further. We'll see. Might not. Man, that was to the tick. This is the M1 fair value gap that brought us down here. So it could take that liquidity and just get one more push down. Yeah, that's sad though. Watch. I'll show you my chart. There's my chart. That's incredible. Yeah, I mean it's just you guys are doing it right because you're trading MNQ. I just have everything mapped on NQ for my other system, so I just stay on it. Yeah, because of what just happened. Right. Right. So I like the volume imbalance you just got on the M1 to push through there. You know, there's actually a nice S10 entry off of that, but it wasn't AMS. It was just simple sweep, which is playing out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get on the tick. Isn't that wild? Oh, you were 21225. Yeah, I was 212. Oh, but you got filled at 25. What's that gray line? Yeah, and I didn't get filled. I was at 21200, but I didn't get filled. I did not get filled. Let's see. This M1 fair value gap's holding still. I mean, if you look at like the S10, it's a market maker sell model to the downside. Um, which is why I mean you could wait. Like effectively, if it breaks that down candle in the M1 to create new structure up, then I'll look to trade the continuations on the S10. Right. So might miss this limit. So right. Yep. Exactly. Precisely. Which might get just as much. Because again, we hit the M15 projection. That's pushed us back down. We've grabbed M15 liquidity now. This is the fair value gap on M15 that is holding, which is solid. Now it's holding it without breaking through the retrace, but I mean without breaking through the 15 candle that brought us into it, but that's okay for now. Yeah, you've got another M15 fair value gap way down, but that would be pretty good close on the M5 up above its fair value gap as well. God, this is a crazy buy tick. I mean, it hit my entry, just didn't fill me. Ugh. Crazy. So where you can almost do like market, like limit market, or stop market, or like I think it'd be limit market, limit market, where like if it hits it, and then you just do market order. Yeah, I think this had to do with me not mapping MNQ, right? Because y'all mapped MNQ, and it hit. Yeah, because MNQ was at 21275 that y'all have, which it hit. I still see this as sort of a sell model in effect right now. Um, but there's the M1 breaker, which is within the stop, right? So I could see it essentially liquidating the low still if it doesn't break here. Now, if it breaks here, I think it's all systems go. Yeah, trying. So that would be the M1 fair value gap. That would be sort of reversal PA for the continuation, which effectively would give you this new entry, right? Yeah, I want to see it. Yeah, because I want fair value gaps holding on right now, which means there might be one more liquidation in play. Yeah, which is mm-hmm, your 50% entry. Oh, I'm not going to trade it now because we haven't broken that one fair value gap to the upside. So I don't consider this as valid structure yet, right? We haven't broken the high from the liquidation. 253.20. I would want to see 253.25 break first, or M1 closure above this fair value gap. See this, if we close up here on that M1, then I'd say okay, because then you got your inversion fair value gap on that M1, right? So this push is good for taking the continuations out of here, but we'd have to close up. We've got 30 seconds to close still. I mean, M5's looking good too, but failure to close would call it off for me. And I just don't see any good liquidation move. Here's the M1 close, right? So we just created a lot of sell side liquidity on the S10 that now it can sweep all that, and we didn't close above the fair value gap there. Yeah, that could be one of two things. It could be all the buyers coming in, or it could be the manipulate, like all sell side liquidity now, right? Notice that neither the S10 nor the M1 closed above the fair value gap there. So that M1 fair value gap effectively just held. And the M1 structure, current structure held. But that said, it's not very convincing sell side structure because it doesn't really have displacement down. Yeah. So for me, the second we break, if we break up, the second we do that, it's all systems go. Actually, notice draw your projection from the very top M1 candle. It's held the fourth projection the whole time. It's never closed below it. So that's also a good sign for the entries. That maybe it's not going to go any further. And here's our inversion. Here's our inversion. It's trying. It just doesn't want to, huh? Someone's seducing all these buyers, I guess. They're not doing a very good job. Because right now it's just keeping buyers out because you haven't broken. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much sell side liquidity now that just got built up, right? On the 15-second. I wouldn't want to enter here on the lower time frame. Interesting. Here comes the sweep. Here comes the sweep. Notice how you just couldn't break that fair value gap. Here's the sweep. We also didn't hit that one breaker there. Not yet. Curious if that's, how much liquidity do they need? Because it hasn't been, it's not breaking up, right? So they need more liquidity if they're going to go up, whoever they is. You like that qualification? Who is they? We've got a minute 30 for the 15-minute to close. So the 15-minute hasn't confirmed that's holding the fair value gap, which gives the other reason. Like if it closes out of here, it could have more time to come back down in. About to. Here comes potential sweep. Shit shorted the sweep, huh? Should just been contrarian against y'all. Just because I'm not tagged in. That's what it is. It said, hey, let's go get Kristen. That is weird. Did you have too much risk on it, or your trailing drawdown got beat? So that was a sweep of all of that liquidity built there, with the exception of the low. If you were to if you were to trade that as S10, I just have a hard time doing that since we haven't broken. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that was if it doesn't push from here, it's going to come back down. But that could have been that was the S10 entry or the S15 entry, whatever you want to call it, off of that liquidity sweep. If that was enough liquidity. Still just not breaking highs on these pushes. I mean, a lot of ways, what it could be doing is it's building liquidity right here. It comes sweep and then go. I just don't like that it looks like a market maker sell model on that one. You know what I mean? Here's potential sweep. I actually pulled my trade off. If it comes back down and tests, I'll look for a confirmation entry. And if it holds, I'll look for an entry off the hold. Like that's a pretty good final sweep right there. But it just hasn't broken that fair value gap, which I don't like. So we've gotten. So the other thing to notice is we're in the new 15-minute candle. It came back down. Right. So if you were playing the 15-second JDRS, that would be valid that you're trading it right now. I just don't like that it's holding that fair value gap to the downside. Didn't break the M1 high. All good. Yeah, that's weird. Take care. Yeah, it just looks like a market maker sell model off the M15 projection in the previous month high. On the 1 minute. So I'd want to see some sort of reversal. Get that confirmation. The fact that it couldn't break that fair value gap to the upside, there's liquidation of all those. That's down into the breaker block. It's liquidation of M5 liquidity. I wonder if it's going to hold that. If it holds that M5 liquidity, and get a nice liquidation candle there. I like that as an entry, but that's not a nice liquidation candle yet. Nah, it's not using that. It's going to have to go deeper, I think. I hope so too. I mean, I'm looking at the longs. I'm with you there. Um, the thing I don't like is that the M5 just closed down below that previous low. But that's a good rejection right there off the breaker. Did the M5 close below its fair value? The M5 held its fair value gap. So I'm liking this right now as your final manipulation. Yeah, projection. All right, we got our S10 up there. I think that might be it. Yeah, there it goes. Fuck. So that's the right kind of play. Let's see if this fair value gap on the M1 gets inverted. That's a volume imbalance on the M1 as well to the upside. On the final manipulation, so we're at the second. We haven't inverted this fair value gap yet, but if we invert that, then it's a pretty good trade. I would almost take a low there. Just look for like, I think this thing's gone now. 28 there. I don't, yeah, I had taken off my trade. But with this, I'll look to get in now because this is sort of the confirmation I was looking for because we broke the high, we got the inversion there. There's a lot to like about this, in my opinion. If it closes above the liquidation candle body and takes the high, that's enough. We got this inversion right here, 27, 28. See if that works. Sort of an M1 entry on that. At 227-ish. With a little high on it. So this would be the order block, so this should hold. We also have that inversion and fair value gap. We should be holding here. Could have taken the JDRS entry off of that that held the volume imbalance, but it had a volume imbalance to the downside, which is not great. Let's see what our projections are on this. Does it? Well, if I were taking it on the S15 or something, that would have closed, I bet. 248.25. What's a third of 15? It's 28, 30. Let's just do 30, so let's do 10 there. So I held that M1 order block, it held the fair value gap, held the inversion, but it's not looking good to the downside right now. That's not a good close on the M1 for my trade. The next one would be 291. And then the final would be 2033. Wait, I need to review my management. What is it? 2R. I do take some off there. All right. 2R would be 269.50. Get the push. $233.75 would be the final. 33.75. So we got 5, 10, 20, 4. So I have 4 left. 8. Yeah, but it wasn't a market structure shift. It was more of a change in state of delivery, right? Market structure shift, you need to close with a high. Change state of delivery, you just need to displace, um, change those displacements. One, two, three, see, that was enough liquidity. We will see. They need to break that high again. So we got that 238 it needs to break. About to get to the 11 o'clock hour. What I don't like is the M5 hasn't quite taken out its candle, the liquidation candle. I got a sell wick on that first attempt. Also got a nice little volume amount right under it that it could come for. Did JD enter another one? guess that's just what he. Yeah, what did he do there? He entered again. I can't tell. That must have been from earlier. Yeah, that was from earlier. Might come down for some M1 liquidity here first. The fact that we're coming into the new hour, it might take out some liquidity and then go. Let's see. 15-minute, if we can close around here, would be pretty strong for the upside. It's right at the previous 15-minute open. Yeah. Created a doji of dojis. 1 hour as well. I mean, I don't like the 1 hour for continuations, to be honest. Because notice it wicked the previous month's high and didn't displace above. So we'll see. The 5-minute held the volume imbalance to the downside and failed to close above the sweep candle. There's definitely some negatives to this trade right now. We suggest that we might need a sweep of the previous hour low, which would be a sweep of my stop. And it's looking awful. Market maker sell model. I'm almost just speaking to my video, so I have these notes because all of that wants me to pull out of this trade. The negative confluences starting to stack up now that I'm in it, but I'm not going to. I had the opportunity to, right? That could be, if it is going to be bull candle, that could have been enough accumulation. I just think since we've come off of that, we might be coming for H1 liquidity here, which would be a sweep of the previous candle low because we just created a fair value gap to the downside. Or fair value, really, it's, go ahead, sorry. Yeah, so you would, your trade would allow that. Mine wouldn't, since I entered on the sort of push here. I just think it's going to dump first and then potentially get a reversal off of that, which would be a shame. So I'm not pulling out of the trade. I'm holding the trade, but I see negative influences to the trade right now. I am hopeful that it works, but thinking based on technical analysis, if I weren't in the trade, I would not be in the trade. I would not enter right now. I'd wait for a push. So I have a little bit of bias because I'm in the trade to hold on, which I don't think is a good thing. I'm trying. Yes, I mean that's the hard part, right? It's like that's precisely right. Like I entered the trade based on criteria, so I should stay in the trade based on criteria, unless if I have while in trade criteria that permits me to get out, but I haven't hit any profit targets yet, so we'll see. This M5 closure is going to be pretty indicative here. That's a break of that previous M1 high, which is good. There's also not a lot of liquidity there. I mean, not a lot of, I don't see many footprints that would hold us down that haven't been consumed already. There's a couple volume imbalances. That is now M5 liquidity, like buy side liquidity that it just took, which it could be using to continue down. Still haven't broken the 5 minute volume imbalance to the downside from those two candles down. I really don't think it's out of the works until we break that high on the 5 minute, which is my first profit target. Failure to close up there is also indicative that this is going to come down for more liquidity on the 1 minute. We're effectively creating a lot of sell side liquidity that it could come sweep and then go, if it's going to go. And we just grab buy side liquidity and close below it. Yeah, I think it's going to come sweep the sell side. I could sweep some sell side. As long as it doesn't sweep the low, I'd stay in the trade. But so it could sweep some of that sell side first. It's just pretty low resistance there. That's 10. That was a good impulse to the upside. That's holding structure so far. 15 minutes got time to close. The 5 minute had a doji close. I mean, like open and close on the same level. So where's the JR? Your profit target's all the way up what at 20, 24.14. Oh, okay. Oh wow. Interesting. Mine's 4.1. Mine would be 4.1425. See, I mean, you got the 100 EMA there that it could tap. Has liquidity. Just consolidation here. Sure would have been nice for me to have been patient and taken the order block because I'd already have a third off instead of the inversion on the M1. Would have been a much tighter entry. Just failing to close above that M1 high is no bueno. Have you seen price like be this stagnant? Yeah, right. I wonder if I can put a fan in the market to blow it up. What do? They put those magnets on these trades, right? Put a magnet on. It's so weird to be in the 1 minute position. I'm so used to the S10 where it's like in and out. I'll put the magnet on the chart. Maybe that'll work. Suck it up. It sure is trying. last volume imbalance on the M1 that hadn't been touched before. Did I get the magnet closer or something? Maybe I need to make the magnet bigger. There we go. Let's make the magnet bigger. Maybe that'll work. And M1, the order block on that one would have been really sick entry. That is a good close. That's pretty productive. I almost want to price weight there. Yeah. Yeah. Could almost just double up right now. Yeah, you take it. Yeah, I don't know. See, that's that's the volume imbalance. That would have been an entry right there. That's the volume imbalance on the M1. That would. Where's your anchor? What candle? The 1050 candle? Oh, that's the M and Q difference again. Ooh, I don't like this. That's the liquidity sweep, though. That could be the. See if get a reaction off of that. That's a nice S10 play right there. It's holding to the downside. Fair value gap on the S10. What's going on our others? Okay. Yeah, again, part of the problem is if you look at the hourly, it looks like it wants to go down off of this weekly, monthly level. And come grab this fair value gap on the monthly. On the hour. Swipe me out. I hit the fourth projection. Did it? 24625. It's not looking good. Tested that water block. That's some displacement to the downside for sure. That one. That's a hold of the 100. See if we get an inversion of that fair value up to the downside. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's holding so far. hold of the fair value gap to the downside, unfortunately. Five-minute doesn't look very good. Hourly doesn't look very good. I'll tell you what though, this is AMS on the S10. Did it hold that fair value gap? It did. Let's see if this S10 AMS plays out. Get an S10 low here. No, I think this thing's gone. I think this thing's gone. Gonna hurt that drawdown since I got to almost 1R. Yeah. They're so fucking hard with that drawdown, man. Yeah, I think it's gonna grab this liquidity. That's gonna do it. See, on that close, I could have trailed. That's an inversion of that order block. Curious on this. Didn't hit that second projection, so. Yeah, you're just holding order flow to the downside right now. There it goes. Yep. Alright. Lost that trade. But how you are in this hourly fair value gap. This is what I was a little bit worried about, is if that's going to be the sweep. That's the hourly fair value gap. That's the M1 breaker now. Tend to throw an S10 trade on right here. 50. Huh? Yeah, I think that was the final sweep right there, because that got everyone who was in the position I was in. Yeah, this thing's looking strong as ever. Let's see, you've got an S10 jump start there. Let's see if it hits that projection, because if it does, I don't want to enter on that. It did, but it closed above. So I like the entry. Yeah, it's a nice
fourth projection of S10. So let's not get greedy here. Yeah, so it's pretty strong close on the 5-minute liquidity sweep there too. So almost consider this then the JDRS there. Should be back where I had my entry. So I'll let that, see if that plays out. This breaker block here. See if it come down, tap me in. That was the S15 breaker. Equals there. Another sweep. Haven't hit EQ yet. That's a good rejection of that right there. It looks different on this. How come it looks different on that? I wonder. 3450. Love it. Take care. So that was an attempt there, and I've got this order here. It does come all the way back. Of course, that wasn't really valid because it didn't sweep by one liquidity. Why did I think it had? This is your M1 liquidity sweep right here. So that's that external M1. Then the breaker block. Here's the tag on the larger play. the sell side. Actually add to this, couldn't we? So that's 22.50. We're at 50. Between 9 and 75. And 237.75. And 254.25. That's had I taken this. I should have an additional 25 contracts on that if I did. Could have just got it right there. No, don't do me. Don't do it. That was my original stop right there. Yeah, it's just trading against this H1 again. The previous week high. Tried to trade the ID even though we took out the previous month high. It needs to come back down for this H1 liquidity. Now it has, so I was trading that effectively, but that's a bad close on the M5. So, all right, that's going to do it for me today. So, be an interesting day to review. Be an interesting day to review. I think that the better play is probably this one, considering we broke that. So, all right, that'll do. Um, details. Pretty much my 50K was blown. So I need to do probably just blow that and so I can restart tomorrow. See if I can just get lucky on it. Because it's effectively I'll take this trade here. I don't know if that's the right. See if I get lucky on that. Oh, not 50. Fuck, that's a lot. Maybe I could have afforded that. Effectively playing this sweep. Which I don't have a lot of faith in, but give that 212, 21925. You know, let that go. I need to go to my 150K. So that go to the 50K. Since you got a re-entry there, or like a ad there, as it broke that. Oh, 22775. And then 23625. push. Looking promising. There's another profit target hit. Next profit target's here, 24475. This is fucking hilarious. Oh, 26175. Oh, 27875. Man, I think I can manage this from my phone. So what I need to do is set alerts here. Or just sit around and watch. I also want to alert if my stop gets taken. And I'll just close on the phone. So, that be back. We'll see how it goes. Got alert set, so I should be able to cancel the trade